Thank you very much. On the screen today, we've got two very special guests again. We have Wakili Henry Ongeri, who resides or practices law in Minnesota, in the United States of America. And then we have got Madam Agnes Omenta, Wakili Agnes Omenta, who practices law back in Kenya, presumably in Nairobi. We have a very special discussion today to deliberate on from this particular end. Now we are from Minneapolis, but we have our Wakili in Nairobi. So these two special guests, they are actually going to tell us how clients can manage to do business even if they are the diaspora. So before we start our discussion, I would like each of them to do their introduction. And just a tip of the iceberg, you can actually see one of the host, who is Wakili Ongeri. In the background, you can see Nyamira 2022. We'll not right now. We'll tell him actually to move away so that we see what is actually happening in Nyamira 2022. But for now, let's focus on diaspora lawyers helping clients to obtain property back in Kenya. So let's start with they claim or they say ladies first. So let's start from Agnes. Agnes, can you please do a quick intro of yourself?
Okay. I'm Agnes Maria Omenta. That's my professional name. I practice here in Nairobi. I have a law firm by the name Omenta and Company Advocates. I've been in the practice for the last 30 years now and still going. And in my firm, I have a partner and 2 associates. And of course, the other staff. And we major so much on conveyancing and a bit of litigation and arbitration, and we also do a bit of family matters. And that's us.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Wakili Ongeri, your turn.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Media TV and Mr. Bernard. And thank you, my colleague from Kenya, Wakili Agnes. And also thank you, our viewers. This is probably I don't know how many times I've been on KDR TV, but I'll still introduce myself.
Sure.
Thank you very much for being so generous to us and for the work you do for the community. My names are Henry M. Ongeri, and I am the managing partner of DiasporaLawyers.com, or the transatlantic law firm. We are an international law firm. Our headquarters is in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We have clients really across the globe because our practice is not limited to any geographic region. Most of our clients have issues in immigration, U.S. immigration, Kenyan immigration. We also have clients who have issues in international law issues, employment across borders, movement of goods and property, and also family, because when people move, they move with families as well. And we also have what we call economic justice litigation, which is how we try to balance wealth across nations. I have been an advocate of the High Court of Kenya since 1996. I am licensed to practice law in the U.S. in both the states of Minnesota and New York. And I also, the way the U.S. system works is I practice across the U.S. in specific areas like immigration, tax, and bankruptcy. I know you said we'll talk about the banner behind me later, so I will not say anything about that.
Thank you.
So for right now, I'm really excited and look forward to sharing this stage with my colleague Agnes. It's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for us to think about the challenges and opportunities that are presented by these questions. So very excited to be here. Thank you very much, both.
Thank you very much, Wakili Ongeri. I'm not actually going to repeat the question. I wanted basically to ask you what what's your specialty, especially in the US. You have already elaborated very well, so I'm not really going to ask you that. So we'll go right in and start asking a few questions on why you are actually here today in this particular interview on this show. So, Wakili Ongeri, as you know, or as I know, very many diasporans have actually been swindled. Most of them have lost millions of shillings when they are doing business back in the country. Most of us get like a 2-week vacation, and in those particular 2-week vacation, we rush to Kenya. We have to see the family. We have to look for property, or whoever is actually interested. We have to run so many errands in those 2-week span period. And most of us actually don't even manage to do as much as we could manage what we want to achieve in those particular days. So what role is the diaspora lawyers helping clients to ensure that if they want a property in Kenya or anywhere in the world or in Africa, how do diaspora lawyers come in conjunction with Omenta and Associates law firm in Nairobi?
Thank you, Mr. Kebwata. You asked like 15 questions in one.
I know.
So
you can answer whichever you want.
You expect magic.
Yes. Okay.
I will try and answer as many of the 15 as I can. First of all, you are absolutely right that our diaspora population faces significant hurdles in their attempt to acquire and manage and own property back at home. And this is not just a Kenyan problem. This is really a problem across the diaspora. We see this in other countries as well. And so the opportunity for the diaspora population is a chance to develop their counties or their local regions by investing money in there. They provide employment, which is really needed, especially in our part of the world where I come from, Nyamira. And we pay significant amounts of money in taxes, VAT, and all the others. But then the challenge comes when somebody who lives in, say, Texas in the USA wants to develop a plot in Nyamira town. They are not physically present. So the process of purchasing that plot has to be done most of the time in their absence. So they are having to go through either relatives or friends of friends of friends who, as we would later realize, were probably not, none of those were not friends and were not relatives. But that is the challenge. So the challenge of dishonesty and possible fraud comes in. Family relations are strained when I send money to my brother who decides to use it for something other than purchasing that plot that we agreed upon. And of course, Texas is 8,000 miles away, which means I can pop in and check and see that they are doing what they told me they would do. And then finally, there is the issue of corruption and red tape. So when you are presented with challenges such as those, it's difficult for people to wrap their minds around how then can this be done. I would like to share what I think is good news is that I think we have a solution. Both the diaspora lawyers as a practice and Omenta and company advocates, I think we have built a strategic partnership that addresses most, if not all, of those challenges. And I'm sure we'll be talking about the details of that. But I want to finish that question by saying that our clients are looking for trust. Our clients are looking for reliability. Our clients want a process that's cost effective. And it is very difficult for someone who's not had a chance to travel to Nyamira in the past 15 years to trust that the pictures they're getting are of the plot that they're being told. And in some cases, actually, it's false. Our neighbors' plots have been presented as the real ones. So we came together as law firms, and I'm glad my colleague mentioned how long she's been in practice. So if we did a quick math, just between the two of us, you're talking about 50 plus years in legal practice in different jurisdictions. So I think I think it's fair to say that we know a thing or two about protecting people's rights, and in this case, property rights. So as we go on with the conversation, I'm going to share, and I'm sure our Wakili Agnes will share as well, how we have figured out that works for the benefit of our clients, and of course for our own benefits as practitioners as well. So this is, I love this opportunity because this is, I think, the first time that we get to present this to the larger public. Our clients know this, but thanks to KDR TV, now the whole world is going to know about it.
Thank you very much, Wakili Ongeri. So we'll delve much into the nitty-gritty of how the process actually works. So before that, let's also hear Wakili Agnes' perspective from Nairobi. Go ahead, Wakili.
Thank you. Mine is just to say exactly what my colleague Henry has said. Those things happen because one, which he has very well put, is about relatives back home, and also friends, so-called friends, which you think that are friends. And another thing, important thing that he has pointed out is that one where properties are being presented, which are neighbors, or just someone goes to a field, takes a photograph, and then sends it and says, oh, we have found a land, this is good, this is suitable. Sometimes you find that those pieces of plots of land are agricultural, and you want to buy a land where you want perhaps to construct a house, or you want to build a commercial house, but they give you, the photos they send you are on agricultural land. And we have different rules and regulations here about different lands and different substantive laws that govern the different lands here. So, and because of trusting, and you put it very rightly, if you come here only for 14 days, surely there's nothing you can do, because there's such a long process to confirm the land that you want. One, there is the search that you do at the lands office. Two, you've got to get a survey plan that points out the exact piece of land where it is, that there are right beacons, it belongs to the right owner. So there's so much. So if you are in a rush and you give this over to someone, maybe a family member or a friend, and you think they will do it for you, oh no. And that's where these frauds come in, and this is how the people in the diaspora lose their money, because they don't have time. And then honesty, which is very important, trusting someone. And that's why, as Wakili Henry has said, we've come together and we have said the right processes have to be followed. Even if you are going to use your relative back home, it's nice that you have a professional here who will connect between you and the one selling. It's good because they will check it out, find it is right, that's the rightful owner, follow the processes, and confirm to you that this is right. And now we have things online. It's very, very easy to cross-check. And this can only be done to you or for you through a professional person, and that's a lawyer. And like in my firm, we have two departments, litigation and that conveyancing. That works very well for us. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Wakili. I would love you to expound a little bit more. I've come to Kenya, I want to buy a property. In 1 or 2 minutes, can you give me the process? Can you explain to us the process? Because most of us, you know, in our mindset, we say, this thing I'm actually going to do it. It's kutembea tu na kuangalia plot na kulipa. So can you really give us a brief overview of what a client expects before we actually come now to your legal conveyancing transactions? Can you tell us exactly what happens before somebody becomes a legal owner of a property?
Right. Thank you again. When one comes to our offices and perhaps they have identified a property and perhaps they have identified the owner, The first and foremost thing is that we ask for a copy of the title. And once we get the copy of the title, that copy of the title, we use it together with a copy of the PIN. I think you know the PIN certificate for the KRA certificate, together with a copy of the ID of the owner. And we put in an application at the lands office and pay about 530, and then we carry out an official search. And once we get the search out and it confirms that that alleged person that is on the title is the rightful owner, then the next stage we advise our clients that we go for the survey plan, and that one is obtained from the survey offices which are on Thika Road, Ruaraka, somewhere there. And once we get that plan, it makes us confirm further that that owner is the actual owner, because it shows the perimeters, how much the land is, and that there are beacons there that you know they are selling you that exact land that they are fronting to be theirs and not someone else's. From there, then, if you start with this, the seller and the purchaser, we discuss about the amount, the purchase price, that is. If you agree, and we have confirmed that the property is rightfully that person's, then we go to the next stage of a sale. It's called sale agreement. In the sale agreement, then we set out, or we spell out the conditions and terms, both by the purchaser and the seller. And those terms, the contract here on sale of agreement is 90 days. Upon the signing of the agreement, you are allowed to pay 10% of the agreed. Let's say it's 10 million, then 10% of 10 million is 1 million. And the other balance will be paid upon successful transfer, which takes just about 2 to 3 months, the 90 days, if there are no hurdles on the way. And this can only be handled by us. We say once you pay the 10%, then we obtain the documents we call completion documents. These are the land rates clearance. There's land rent also clearance. There's consent to transfer. Then upon an undertaking by us to the advocates of the seller, they give us the original document, title document, on undertaking that we will use those documents only for purposes of transferring. And if possible, if we both agree, the purchaser then will transfer the balance of the 90% to either our account or to joint account of both advocates until the property is successfully transferred. And upon that, then the 90% is transferred either to the advocates of the seller or direct to the seller himself. And that's the process.
You see, we are learning. Thank you very much for putting it very brief. I mean, very brief, but very concise.
That's brief. It can be details, but that's just on a nutshell. Yeah.
That is beautiful. That's wonderful. So a minimum of 90 days.
Yes. But this can also be extended if there are hurdles and the transfer has not been effected within the 90 days. The parties come together and extend, maybe for a further 30 days or 10 days or 15. And by the way, upon successful transfer, the law allows you to pay the balance within 14 days. So within 14 days, from the first day to 14, you can pay.
Okay. Thank you very much. So Wakili Ongeri, now how do you now come in this particular transaction? Now give us an elaborate explanation on how the process actually works from the diaspora now.
Thank you, and thank you, Wakili Agnes, for that brief but helpful outline of the steps that we take our clients through. One of the challenges that we face as lawyers is when the clients don't understand what happens after step A, step B, and then you start seeing questions. Where are we? What are we doing? I've not heard from you. This has not happened. It's been a week since I paid. I have not seen anything. Where is my title? How come nobody's building on my land yet? So the process is important, and as lawyers, we always want to make sure that the client understands that after A, then B follows, and F doesn't follow C. So thank you for that. I wanted to begin by saying that given the challenges that our clients face on both ends, remember the seller also wants a clean transaction so that he or she can get her money for her property. Our clients who are in the diaspora want clean title for their money. Now, the challenge then becomes, as you said hypothetically, Bernard, that somebody is available for 14 days, and yet Wakil Agnes tells us you need about 90 days to complete this, which means something is going to have to happen in absence of a party. And that is where we start seeing challenges come in. So as lawyers in the diaspora, how we have designed this is that we actually like to think of this as a win times 3. It's a win for the clients because then they only have to instruct lawyers once. It's a win for the buyers because for the sellers, because they know that Wakil Agnes and her firm are dealing with this in their offices, and so they don't have to keep traveling back and forth to Nairobi. And it's also a win for the local communities in that if this money is used appropriately, then the building that we were trying to put up would actually be put up. People would get employment, and taxes will be paid. So it's a win-win. So ours is what we call a strategic partnership. What that means is that we have identified law firms and professionals that we like to work with in each area. Wakil Agnes and her firm are our lead people in that arrangement, which means that a client may come to my office in Minneapolis or in New York and say, I have been told there's a plot of land at Konza that I want to buy. They would give us those instructions, and we would then give those instructions in a secure format to our partners in Nairobi who are now Wakil Agnes and her colleagues. That allows the client to essentially deal with one front office, but have the benefit of all these other people that they've never met. The word that Wakil Agnes used accurately is a professional undertaking. I'd like to kind of point out what that means. What that means is that lawyers amongst themselves have a certain level of respect for each other. So that if I tell Wakil Agnes something in writing, she can use that to proceed with the transaction. That is the basis upon which those documents are transferred upon the professional undertaking of the lawyer. Because we still believe that a lawyer's word is worth something. I don't know, some people may debate that now with the changes in the legal profession. Oh, sure. But the noble profession that we are, when I say something, somebody can act on it, and that is the professional undertaking. So based on that, then we have sort of this network of lawyers. I said our headquarters is in Minneapolis, but that doesn't mean we only work with people in Minneapolis. You are very familiar with our organization, KUSBA, the one headed by Wakil Opande in Houston. So we have, even within the US, we have a network of lawyers that we communicate. You know, somebody says, I have a client here in Texas that is doing something that somebody have capacity to help. So we do that. So the advantage of this partnership, Bernard, is that the client actually has access to very many lawyers without realizing it. And these are practitioners in their own fields. These are people who give this undertaking that Wakil Agnes talked about, which means the risk of fraud or the risk of dishonesty is minimized because you're dealing with lawyers really across. Doesn't mean it won't happen. I don't want people to think that we run a fraud-free world. Sometimes even lawyers get defrauded. But because of that network, then we are able to say, all right, Wakili Matemi in North Carolina, what do you have? Wakili Ombok from New York, what do you have? And then in Kenya also, we have that network that Wakili Agnes has. So if a plot is in Mombasa, for example, she would be able to help us get that transaction completed because of her network of lawyers. So the easiest way, I think, to see our relationship is that we are building an unseen network between professionals with our client at the center so that we reduce the cost. Because if you had to fly to Nairobi to instruct Wakili Agnes, that's a lot of money already.
Sure.
But if all you had to do was to reach out to your Wakili in your local neighborhood who is part of this conversation, then that Wakili will get in touch with me or get in touch with one of our lawyers, and that then in turn gets in touch with Wakili Agnes, who gets in touch with the seller or Wakili in Mombasa. I think you get the picture. And we did that because we believe that clients, both buyers and sellers, need a peace of mind. You know, the seller who is giving up serious property in Kenya and being told the purchaser is in New York, you have never seen the person. How do they know that this person actually exists? They're about to transfer millions and millions of property to someone they've never seen.
Sure.
Same thing with the buyer. How do I know that this plot in Nyamira town actually exists, or it hasn't been sold to 20 different people with 20 different titles that look genuine? So this partnership then steps in to kind of calm the nerves on both ends by saying, we have done the search, as Wakili Agnes said. We believe that this ownership is good. And on the other end, in the diaspora, we are saying we have a professional undertaking that this transaction is legitimate, so you can safely transfer the funds, and the funds are coming to us into our trust account as lawyers, not as my friend, because there's a distinction. Money that comes to us as lawyers in our trust account enjoys special protection that other money doesn't enjoy. Okay. And so that makes sure then that the client can sleep at night knowing that professionals are handling this on their behalf. You know, like those days we used to get into a matatu and it says, relax, professional driver in control, and then you after a while you start wondering, is that even true, because of the way they're driving? But sure. in this one, I can tell our clients to relax. Professionals are really in control.
Wonderful. This is wonderful. I mean, this is something I've been yearning for. We need to curtail fraud amongst our transactions. I mean, amongst the business we're actually doing, or we are transacting, especially whether it's in the diaspora or back in Kenya. You guys, when you actually come in and curtail or ensure that things are going to go in a very smooth way, so professionally, even if you charge an arm or a leg, whichever you actually call it in the law, things are pretty good, because you are sure that whatever you are receiving, whatever is happening, it's actually void of or any problem. So thank you very much, Wakili, for giving that particular explanation. Now, tell me how the process now will definitely have to work. I pay in Minneapolis, everything back in Kenya, or I send money in Kenya, you give instructions. How does the web now work?
Maybe I should take that. I should take that first.
Yes.
When we started, I said that we put this partnership together, strategic partnership together, because we were concerned about cost for our clients. So one of the things we want to do is to make sure that it's not cost prohibitive.
Sure.
And the advocates, myself and Agnes, when I'm in Kenya, we are governed by what's called the Advocates Remuneration Act.
Sure.
And that act kind of gives guidance on what fees advocates can charge.
Sure.
On the U.S. side, though, because U.S. is a free market, we kind of charge what the system calls reasonable fees. So reasonable for the service that I provide. but we still have to be conscious of, you know, if we're buying or we are involved in a transaction of 10 million, the fee can't be 20 million, you know, that would be unreasonable. So, so cost is a big issue. And then convenience. People, now with mobile money, people can transfer money back and forth. So if a client lives in Dallas and wants to complete this transaction and we are acting for them, then they would get in touch with us either by email or by phone. Then we will put together what's called a retainer agreement, which allows us to represent them.
Sure.
That retainer agreement spells the relationship. We call it attorney-client relationship. So the attorney-client relationship is actually between their client in Dallas and my office with headquarters in Minneapolis, and whichever attorney in our office that's going to handle that.
Sure.
And then we are the ones who now take those instructions, whether they are for purchase of property, and I know we keep talking about purchase, but also remember they are selling. We also have people from the diaspora who are selling. So we take those instructions and we transmit those instructions to our first point of contact in Kenya is Omenta and Company Advocates. It may end up being handled by Mirieri and Company Advocates in Mombasa.
Sure.
But our first point of contact is Omenta. There are times that the client says, I would like to know who's handling this matter on my behalf.
Sure.
And we would allow the client to contact them, but we try to minimize that because then in the end, if you're going to keep making phone calls to Kenya, then you don't need us.
That is true. Yeah.
You know, but the client is entitled to know who's representing him or her.
Sure.
And so the payment will be done into our law firm in US dollars. And depending on what the terms of the purchase agreement are or sale agreement are, then we implement those terms. So again, let's go with the example Wakili Agnes gave 10 million. So the client says, okay, I have 1 million, which is 10%. That 10% will be paid to our office, and that will be transmitted to Kenya, and that eventually will get to the seller of the property. But the advantage of having those lawyers based in the US is that the client only needs to make one phone call or one transfer or really one contact.
Yes.
And that is the convenience.
Or walk into the office, which is pretty easy. Yep.
Or in your case, it's just walking into my office.
That is true. Okay.
For the other folks, it may be a little challenging to walk into my office, but we still get the instructions. The thing that I have to emphasize here is anytime that you are handling matters remotely, there are challenges of are we getting clear instructions? But so far, what we get is they're very straightforward instructions. Purchase for us 100 by 50 plot in Konza. This is the limit. This is the amount of money that I'm allowing you to spend. So it is not as complicated as when you find a matter that involves one child in Dubai, the father in the US, the mother in South Africa, and the brother in Nyamira trying to fight over custody of a child that's studying in Nyeri. That gets a little confusing. But for purchase of property or sale of property, the instructions tend to be straightforward. And am I right, Wakili Agnes? There are not too many
Yes, you
controversies.
are. Yes, you are. You're very right.
Yeah, if you have an input, Wakili Agnes, go ahead.
No, my colleague has put it correctly and aptly. So if I add anything, then I'll be spoiling.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. So, Wakili, that information is really it's very good information for our people, especially our listeners. We've got a few questions, but because of time, we might not actually answer them today. We'll definitely arrange for another interview another day so that you can come and give more elaborate explanation on how the process actually works. So if, for example, I'm having an issue with a lawyer, it happens. You've actually said that not all lawyers are genuine. You've actually said it. So how do you now come in and help a client?
Okay. That is in our business, we have what's called seniority.
Yes.
And an issue that involves another colleague would first be dealt with by a senior advocate, who's Agnes, in this call. So I would let Agnes speak to that first, because she's my senior in the profession.
Okay. Okay.
And after she has spoken to that issue, then I would add. That is the hierarchy. She's actually, I should have mentioned that much earlier, that she's my senior in the profession. So anytime we're in court, she'll be heard first before me.
Okay.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's decorum, and we follow it very, very strictly.
Okay.
Thank you, Bernard and Henry. Anyway, I do concur with you that not all advocates are genuine or honest. And for us in here in Kenya, we have what we call the advocates machine, or you can go online and you can check. And there is one thing when you go online through LSK, actually it's LSK, it's www.lsk.or.ke. You'll see all the list of active. There will be those it's written inactive and active. So it's very easy to know a lawyer that is currently practicing, and that's how you know this one is genuine. Here, the law nowadays has put it very clearly, and that's also together with LSK. If a lawyer does not have current practicing certificate, which we obtain annually every year on the beginning of the year, then currently they are very stringent. You cannot act, because you cannot sign and you cannot transact if you do not have a current PC practice certificate. So it's that strict, and it's so easy for someone to know whether you are, because you just log in and you just know. But however, there are also quacks. There are people who masquerade here that they are lawyers, they are dressed smart, and they have such a smart language, and when they talk to you even about land and the laws and statutes, you just fall prey. Immediately, this guy knows it. But then what helps us, or helps one, is by doing what I've said. You log in on the WLSK and you'll find if that guy is genuine, because you find all the names there. And another way is just to write an email to LSK or call. The numbers are online, and nowadays we thank God to that smart fellow called Google. It gives you every information that you want. Just one ring and they'll tell you if that lawyer belongs to LSK or is active or is very, very easy. So that's how here the quacks or the lawyers that are hoaxes are pruned. So the profession is getting better and better, and people are being now been put straight. If you go astray, you can't play with what brings bread on your table. So you need to be straight and very, very careful as you practice, and practice professionally also.
Okay.
So that helps a lot here.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, you say she'll take your senior, will take first, and then you come and
yes.
Yep.
You top up now.
Thank you for that. Yes. The active and inactive status, that is accurate. And I'm going to be full disclosure here. I haven't renewed my license for 2021. So if you Googled my name under that, it would show inactive, but that is because I haven't applied for the 2021 license. Now, there is a difference between a lawyer being inactive or being not able to transact currently, and a lawyer acting unethically or unprofessionally, which is what Wakili Agnes finished talking about. And I think the way the system does that, there is a complaints commission. That's the secretary, I believe, is still George Nyakundi, my roommate from college, so I know him. Clients who have complaints, and here we have also to be careful not to say, not everything that the client doesn't like rises to the level of a complaint. The client may not like that you didn't answer her call over the weekend. That's not that's not an issue that the commission wants to address. There are issues that I think are substantively problematic, that violate the rules of ethics that the clients need to raise. And in our practice, if a client is unhappy with the service that the lawyer is providing, we advise them to follow those channels that Wakili mentioned, because we don't like being arbitrators amongst colleagues. And the reason is this: if you asked 10,000 lawyers a question, chances are that you get 10,000 different answers. So we don't like putting ourselves in the position where we are second guessing a colleague's decision, a colleague's choice of strategy or anything like that. We want that to go through the channels that have been established for that type of work, because the commission has a way of filtering what is actual complaint and what is client noise. And I have to put it that way because I've had a lot of noise from clients where the lawyer is the problem when in reality the problem is somewhere else. So I always advise my clients to, first of all, know that just like any business, law is a relationship business. If you complain every day about me, it's unlikely that I'll be motivated to work really hard for you. So I tell clients, if you don't feel this client is if this lawyer is not, if you don't feel this lawyer is helping you, maybe you find another lawyer with whom you can work better. Sure. Because if your styles are different, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be a bad relationship. It's I'm sure all of you have an employer that you probably would rather forget. You don't want to go there because this is a voluntary thing. It should be a fulfilling relationship. I should be able to get your plot purchased in a good way, at a fair price. Everything should go well. But if the client doesn't feel like that is happening, I usually am the first one to say, can you talk to somebody else? Maybe they would help you better than I am doing it, because my style may not be what the client appreciates.
Okay. Thank you very much, Wakili. Wakili, why you? It's as if you are preparing to say something before we ask you the last question.
No. I wanted to put in what Wakil Henry has already put about the commission. So that's done. That's dealt with. Yeah. Okay,
go ahead. Oh, yes, already dealt with that.
Yeah, and then the noise is talking about there are some clients who are just permanently complaining, and they would move from one lawyer to another, and as much as they are moving from one to another, the same way they are writing to the complaints commission. So sometimes it takes time also for the commission to know when they are like that, the commission is able to find out who is the errand one. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks. Thanks for explaining, for elaborating again. So Wakili, all the transactions done, Minneapolis, Nairobi, College, Nyamira, Kisumu, Mombasa, wherever, everything is done. How do I receive my papers? Or where do you send my papers? Do I come and grab them from your table, or what do you think?
No.
What do you think? Or how do you do it?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Bernard. We started, I think Wakili Henry and me started that we are doing this thing professionally.
Yes.
You gave instructions to our officers in the diaspora. Yes. The chain starts there. They gave instructions to our officers in Nairobi.
Yes.
When we complete the work here, we'll do the same. we'll do what is called RTS. So
What is RTS, Wakili? Tell, what is RTS?
return to sender.
Return to sender.
So I'll communicate with my colleague Henry in the Diaspora or whichever council that is acting in that particular contract and inform them that we have successfully completed and we have the documents and we'll send them back to them by DHL. That's what we normally do. And once they receive this, they will then get in touch with you to get to the offices to collect your title.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I think
because the file was opened there, so the file has to be closed there.
Yes.
And they have to ensure that you have paid all the fees before you collect your title.
Before you collect them. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, you wanted to add something? Go ahead.
Yeah. I like the concept of return to sender, but that is actually, it's now the reverse of what it was when it started. Is that now we have to go back and tell the client, yeah, whatever you told us is done. And we add this, you might have heard me say, we are very big on customer service in that we want to know if we did the job the client wanted. So we want an opportunity to debrief the client and say, okay, did everything go the way you thought it would go? Which parts of this transaction would you recommend we change? I usually worry about the things that don't work. Okay. The ones that work well, we keep doing. But the ones that didn't work, I say, okay, is there something else? Was there a delay in you getting the things you needed to get? Did we communicate with you adequately? So just like a regular survey for the client, because that is how then we guarantee that the client will tell their friend who's also looking to do the same. Because we said there's 329 billion Kenya shillings that go to Kenya annually from the diaspora. Most of that goes into real estate development and purchase. So if we treat our clients well, chances are that they will tell their friends, who will tell their friends, and the network continues. And so that is our hope, and that is the whole idea.
And that is why we are here. We want actually to make it easy for every Kenyan, easy for every African, any diaspora, so that we can actually get the best services they deserve.
Yes.
And the other question, and now the last question, Wakili, is after I've gotten the title and I might need to be helped in developing a project, and I want to start to build. Do you guys also offer those services so that you ensure that whatever is being built on my land, on my plot, on my property is genuine, or what? Can you also extend services to that particular end? That's our last question. I don't want to keep you for long here.
Yes, I would quickly answer that we do. By the time we have completed the purchase or sale agreement, we have developed a relationship with our client. They trust us, and so it makes sense for us to do what's called contract management. In other words, if they're going to do something there, we are involved not as contractors, we don't build, but as the lawyers who would deal with any issues that may come up. Somebody's taking off with bags of cement every night. We might be the ones to write the letter saying, you know, we informed that you are committing theft on our client's property, and you need to cease and desist, otherwise we're going to take action. So we kind of remain not on the same agreement that we signed. Remember, we did a retained agreement that said purchase the plot in Nyamira town. That plot has been purchased, the file has been closed. But the client wants us to keep eyes on the property now that development is going on. We'll execute a new contract with new terms and new expectations. Because again, now our role has shifted from helping to secure the property to now essentially, I don't like the word nyapara, but close to it.
Overseers.
Overseers, yes. Yes, so yes, we can do that, and again, would follow the same chain of instructions. Yeah, I'm sure Wakili Agnes may have something to say on that.
Go ahead, Wakili Agnes.
Yeah, we can do that, as Wakili Henry has aptly put it. We can again start a new contract where again there will be stipulated what the client wants again, whether they want us to be a go-between with the contractors, the property. You know, it's easy when you get one contractor to do the billing from the beginning to end.
Sure.
Which contract we can help or assist the client to get, so that the contract is very clear, intact, and very well put, so that our role now would be just to oversee, to manage and check that everything is done according to what the client wants. And that supervision includes from the foundation, the photographs, everything, every stage, so that it goes up to the end by perhaps the very good help of the quantity surveyors. They become very handy, and the architect. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So, you guys have a closing remark. Let's now start from Wakili Ongeri, because you've talked of seniority now. Wakili Agnes will crown it off. So, Wakili Ongeri, any closing remark?
Well, first of all, I wanted to really thank you and thank my colleague, Wakili Agnes, for finding the time, and you for providing us with this forum. I'm hoping that we did not commit the professional crime of oversimplifying a very complicated process.
Sure.
But the idea today was to touch on it, and hopefully as time goes on, we get an opportunity to go into the details. What we just did today was talk about conveyancing in less than 20 minutes. Conveyancing is a full year course, both at the law school and in continuing practice. So we don't want to give people the impression that this is a very as simple as we put it. But the idea today was to do that, fly over the landscape and show people what's down there. We'll calm down and go get into the details at an appropriate time. So thank you very much for that opportunity. The other thing I was going to say, since you mentioned my background here,
sure.
If I moved just a little bit,
yes.
Your viewers can see that it says Bwakire Se Nyamira 2022. Sure. It's a pair of hands holding the sun. What that really means is come 2022, we're going to march into Nyamira County holding the sun in our hands, bring light to the county, and that is, I'm sure that is a whole new show that you may want to put together.
Sure.
But just so that your viewers know that with the support of voters and prayers and God's help, I will be the next governor of the county of Nyamira.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
To that I say amen.
Thank you. Okay. Your turn now.
Thank you, Bernard, and my colleague Henry. I'm really been happy with this. Thank you for providing this forum, your time to listen to us. As Wakili has said, this is just tip of the iceberg. It's just a short preamble. Things to do with property and obtaining and all the processes is long. But we just given a small introduction. And if there is any time, another time, then we can get in details. And perhaps if viewers have questions about the whole topic, then we can even shed more light to this topic. But otherwise, thank you very, very much. And my colleague Wakili Henry, I'm waiting for you so that we can carry that sun and bring light to Nyamira. It's still very dark. There are no bulbs, so we'll have to buy bulbs and put in the streets of Nyamira before we can provide the bread. At least people think we are giving them stones.
Sure.
Thank you very much, and God bless you, Bernard.
I appreciate your time, Wakili, both Wakili times 2. I'm a mathematician, so Wakili times 2. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate your eloquence. I appreciate your explanation. So till next time, when we'll definitely have a different topic or expounding on this particular topic we've discussed today. May God bless you. Wakili Ongeri, Governor mtarajiwa Nyamira County 2022. First of all, congratulations from KDR TV. We are here to focus on deliverables. We are here to tell the world your story. We are here to tell the world what needs actually to be done, not only in Kenya, but also in the diaspora. So we are here to give out the best from our end. May God bless you. Thank you very much. Till next time, bye-bye.